Hi everyone, Admir with UTS here again. One of the most common questions we get is, how do I choose between the 474, the 494, and the 574? So we wanted to make this video to illustrate the overall size difference between the tractors, as well as talk about some other considerations. So first, this is a 574. Earlier I said 494. They are the exact same tractor. 494, 574, same tractor. The only difference is the turbocharger on the engine. The 574 has 7 more horsepower. Everything else is the same. The loader lift capacity is the same, the wheels and tires, transmission, everything is the same. The only real difference you're gonna feel, the only reason to get the bigger horsepower is, well, not the only reason to get the bigger horsepower, but you'll feel it in ground engaging work. So heavy rototilling, heavy brush hogging, pulling an actual plow, pulling a heavy wagon, that 7 horsepower will make a difference. If you're considering a tractor primarily for loader work, that 55 versus 48 horse is not gonna make, it's gonna be barely noticeable, if at all. So 494, 574, only difference, turbocharger on the engine, 7 horsepower, and it only comes into play heavy ground engaging work. If it's just loader work, the 494 will do the exact same amount of loader work as the 574. You could get nitpicky with what I just said, but primarily that is the truth. The 474, how does it compare to the 494? 474, 494 have the exact same 48.3 horsepower, 4-cylinder, naturally aspirated Kukje diesel engine. Same engine. Difference between the tractors? There are no similarities other than the engine. It is a different chassis, different transmission, different rear end, different front axle, different loader, different operator station. Everything is completely different. There are no similarities. Lift capacity, almost 2,200, almost 2,800. Significant difference there. The 474 obviously is a much smaller tractor. As I walk back here, you can see the different height of just the rear wheels. 494 is considerably larger. Where does the 474 have a place versus the 494? Well, let's talk about how much room you have going down your trails, how much room you might have in your barn, in your garage, wherever you're going to store it. The price, obviously, it comes into play as well. 474 will get into tighter spaces. It will go down narrower trails. You don't need as much room to maneuver it. You don't need as much room to store it. The 494, 574 is considerably larger. All of those things you have to take into consideration when you're making the purchase. These are also more expensive than this one. There's a lot more steel. There's some other features that come standard on this one that are not on this. For example, single rear remote, dual rear remote. This has a dual rear remote option. This has a triple rear remote option. You cannot get 3 rear remotes on this. Overall room in the operator station. There's a lot more room on the bigger tractor. The controls are more accessible. They're easier to use due to the overall physical size. More things packed into a smaller package. The dual rear remote kit on this tractor is an option. Lots of people go for it. Personally, I think it's very difficult to use because the levers are in a tight spot, and if you have to do precision work with them, I wouldn't recommend it. I would say go with the bigger tractor. The levers are just more accessible. They are easier to get to. They are easier to use. Implements. All 3 of these tractors, 474, 494, 574, 6-foot implements. Yeah, you can get 5-foot heavy-duty grade implements for this tractor, but you're not covering your rear wheels. You're going to be just short of it. 5 foot on this tractor really doesn't make sense. It's too small. All 3 of them have the horsepower, have the physical ability to run a 6-foot brush hog, a 6-foot tiller. That's what 90% of our customers end up buying. They buy a Ironcraft UM72 as far as tillers go for all 3 models. They buy a 1206 brush hog, sometimes a 1205 with this one. It just depends on how much overall mass you want hanging off the back. Again, the size of your trails, the size of your barn, the size of your property, those are the things to consider with these tractors and when you're trying to decide which way to go. Third function kits, Both of them have the exact same valve. The joysticks are a little bit different. Again, due to the size of it, this is a different layout, but the valve is the same. The function is the same. Skid steer quick connect on both of them. All three models are fantastic tractors. You can't go wrong with either one. We wanted to make this video to help you consider some of the things, some of the conversations we have on a daily basis with customers, put them in video form. I hope this will help you. I hope it makes sense, and feel free to leave us any questions or comments. Thanks.